Hi guys, Lisa's Movie Reviews. Now this is the #1 video of my top 5 most favorite fantasy movies. This is #1 for me. My most favorite fantasy movie. And it is... oh crap. Legend from 1985. This is the Ultimate Edition. It kind of broke. I've had it for so many years. See if I can take that off. It's got a little booklet. And then here's the original theatrical version, and here's the director's cut. This back. Now, this movie was made 1985, directed by Ridley Scott. And let me see. Music by Jerry Goldsmith in the UK director's cut, and the US version has the music by Tangerine Dream. Tom Cruise plays Jack, Sara plays Princess Lili, and Tim Curry plays the Lord of Darkness. Let me show you quickly my shirt. Hopefully you're not seeing my boxers. Look at my shirt. This is Darkness. There's Princess Lili. Can you see it? One of the best shirts ever. That's why it's my favorite fantasy movie. Now I'm going to give you a really brief summary, because it's a long story. In order to cast the world into eternal night, darkness, Tim Curry sends the goblin Blix, played by Alice Playton, on a mission to kill the unicorns that guard the light and bring them their horns. Blix and his colleagues Pox and Blunder follow impetuous Princess Lili, Sara, and her forest-dwelling paramour, Jack, Tom Cruise, who kiss for hours in the forest, which I didn't think that was important. After failed attempts to progress the relationship, Jack takes Lili to the lair of the unicorns, something that is forbidden amongst mortals. When Lili distracts the stallion by stroking it, another forbidden act, Blick shoots it with a poison dart from his blowpipe, and the unicorns flee. The goblins find the dying stallion and sever its alicorn. An apocalyptic winter descends. Lili runs off in terror. Now, the rest of the story is about Lili trying to make things right because she screwed up everything, and ending up in Darkness's lair, the Lord of Darkness, and Jack's trying to find her, but they're also trying to get the other unicorn. They took the goblins took the other unicorn, because there's 2 unicorns. They took the horn of one, and they took the other one to be killed. And Jack and his friends, there's like fairies, and let me see, what else is in here? There's unicorns, goblins, sprites, and fairies. No, goblins aren't his friends, but the sprites and fairies are, and they try to get into his lair to save the unicorn, but also to save Princess Lili from darkness. Now, this to me is a fantasy film lover's wet dream. I'm not kidding. The look of this film. If it's a Ridley Scott movie, it's going to be beautiful looking. All his films are beautiful looking. This movie, Alien, Blade Runner, Gladiator. I mean, I'm missing something. What's that other movie? Oh, shit. Do I have it out? Well, just take my word for it. Really, Scott movies are gorgeous looking. And this also has, in my opinion, like on my shirt, the most beautiful and the most badass looking villain of all time to me. Lord of Darkness. To me, Tim Curry owned his performance. The makeup didn't own him because he is covered head to toe. Let me see how. It said it took 5.5 hours for him to be, because he's in the makeup chair, because his entire body was encased in makeup. And it is one, and has been written and determined as one of the most iconic images in all fantasy cinema, him as Darkness. And I think personally this is Tim Curry's best work. I don't know, I mean, let's see. Everyone says they prefer him as Pennywise. Nah, I didn't really get into him as Pennywise. I think, I don't know, it's just that you could kind of tell it was Tim Curry even when he's totally encased in makeup. See how he looks? He was like, I think they said he was like 7 feet tall when he was all in the makeup. It's just, I mean, everything about this movie is glorious. Like I said, it's like a fantasy lover's wet dream to me. In 1985, it looks still good to me today. This is not Tom Cruise's best work. It's not. I really think Tom Cruise was heavily miscasted in this role, but then again, I can't think of anybody else that could have played Jack. In that time, I don't know. But I let that slide because based on all the imagery and the production design and the costumes and the makeup, I let that slide because of how this movie looks. It's just perfect to me. I grew up with Tangerine Dream's music, but for the original US version of the movie, but I also really appreciate Jerry Goldsmith's score for the director's cut, and the director's cut is brilliant. I think if the movie had been, I think the movie would have been more successful if it was the director's cut right from the beginning. Ridley Scott agrees, even Tom Cruise agrees when he doesn't really ever want to think himself associated with this movie because his performance was heavily panned in this movie. Because really what stood out in this movie was Tim Curry. Let me see, what other notes do I have written down here? I don't want to forget anything. Let's see. The makeup effects was by Rob Bottin. I am so glad that they got this guy involved. This movie would not have looked anything like it did today if it wasn't for him. I mean, the goblins look, sometimes when you see characters supposed to be goblins in movies, it's like, I guess, but this one you could tell. I mean, if I took one of my other movies that I like, The Never-Ending Story, that makeup on those characters, not specifically goblins, but that makeup was like, it was not bad. But in this one, it was just professional. It was expertise. It was beautiful. Everything was beautiful about this movie. They made it into a James Bond studio. This whole fantasy land with these trees, and they had actual birds and all these flowers and this big stream and this big pond, and it was glorious. And it became this winterland, which obviously was not really real snow. It was just fake snow. You could tell because it was all glittery and it was all puffy and fluffy and flying everywhere. But even then it looked beautiful. Even in Darkness's lair it was beautiful. The huge columns, his huge fireplace, that big mirror, the huge table. It was, I mean, like, that's all I can describe it as, is a fantasy lover's wet dream. Because to me it's just the most beautiful looking movie I've ever seen in my life. And sometimes people kind of snicker at that towards me. But it's like, it's true. I stand by my word. It is. If you haven't seen this, please give it a try. Even if you don't really like the acting too much, even if the story is not so well thought out, just enjoy the imagery. Just enjoy the production. And the makeup, the music. Just enjoy that, because I can just ignore Tom Cruise in it. Me and Sara did okay with what she had to do, but I just ignored that. I'll just look at Tim Curry and everything else. It's just, this is one of the few movies I can look at and just be stunned. I'm just speechless when I see how it looks. And I was the same way when I watched Blade Runner on my Blu-ray. It was just like, and that's another Ridley Scott movie. It's like, I can't believe he makes these movies look so spectacular. It almost makes me cry how beautiful they are. Let me see, what can I say? Well, I would recommend getting this Ultimate Edition. It has, like I said, the theatrical version and the director's cut version. And Disc 2 has so many things, special features about making the movie, deleted scenes about movies. Some scenes were destroyed in a fire because they had a huge fire, and they have like storyboards of what it was supposed to look like. It had audio about what it looks like. There's a music video, there's trailers. I give this movie an A frickin' plus. It is my favorite fantasy movie ever. Please check out Legend. If you have seen it and you didn't really like it, watch it again. Especially try to get a hold of the director's cut. You won't be sorry. Please check it out. This was my number one. Number one fantasy movie of all time, Legend. I don't know what our videos or reviews I'm going to do yet. Maybe you guys can give me suggestions. I don't know. But I've been wanting to do these little videos for a long time now. So that's my favorite fantasy movie ever. And all the other ones, other four were all in the 80s, because the 80s was the epitome of great fantasy movies. I never got into The Hobbit. I never got into Lord of the Rings. I didn't get into Harry Potter. I just don't. I can appreciate what they've done for movies, but I never really got into them. But this is where it is for me. Right here. Legend. Please watch it. If not, check out some pictures on Google about Tim Curry's Lord of Darkness. Look at that. Look how he looks, head to toe covered. And in his performance, it didn't own him. Like I said, he owned that performance. You could tell it's Tim Curry, the voice, his body language. He was enjoying what he was doing in that role. And he worked it. He's the highlight of Legend besides Ridley Scott's production. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Bye.